Well guys, welcome to the channel, welcome to the stream, and yet another chapter working on that guy right there. That is our Su-57 that's working on a 1/48 scale model kit by Zvezda. Run the intro, we'll get started, okay? Okay guys, we're back and we're painting. We're painting. This is painting number 2, okay? It's been a day. It's been a day and I've done some masking. We left off with this thing kind of having this little splotch of white kind of in the middle of it. And now I've masked it off, okay? We've masked it off and we're going to do our second, oops, we don't want to leave that there. We want to do our second color. That second color being the light blue. Now, the one thing I do need to do is I got to figure out the canopy situation that we've got going on here. Because we do have a little piece that's got to go on the front there. And we got to figure out, does that piece have to go on before or after the canopy? Should I paint it all on its own? That kind of thing. There's little things that you need to figure out like that, okay? Because there are some things that just have to be done. Now, for example, where I have this masked, the masking tape is coming right over where the fin is, where one of these is going to be right there. So that means I need to have the tip of this right there, just that little tip, that needs to be white, okay? And so same on this one, put this over here, that little tip needs to be white there. I'll do that later. We're going to do that later, okay? We're actually going to wait. We're not going to be painting those today. The other thing I wanted to decide was, since our pylons are going to be in the white, our pylons should also be white. This guy's going to go probably here. Okay, so this is going to be sitting there like that. This should probably be white also, which means I need to paint these. So I'm going to have to break out the white later. We're not going to be doing that right now. But today we're going to be doing the light blue. Okay, I'm just going to put this over here for now. We're going to be doing the light blue. Okay, so although I have that picture sitting up there, that is not the picture we're going to be doing. Let me just change this picture for you, okay? Because that's not accurate. I was looking at the wrong picture earlier. I was looking at this picture earlier just for reference on the engine. This is what we're going to be doing, okay? Where are we here? This guy here. This guy, okay? Let's zoom in on that. This is what we're doing, okay? That's the color scheme we're going for, all right? So, how are we going to get that? Well, we're going to use this color. This is a little bit light, but that's okay. I need to mix it up a little bit. Now, as I mentioned last time, this is a mixture of Mr. Hobby blue. This guy here, the 392. This is the interior blue. This is this color you paint the inside of the cockpit, usually. Okay, that's got a mixture of this, and I put a little bit of gray in there. And so we come up with this, and it's a little bit different. It's not quite the same. So let's get this mixed up nice here. Let's do this. Get it mixed up. Okay, I'm going to fire up the air compressor. Now I don't know if I have this thinned or not. I'm going to have to open this up and see if I got it thinned. I think it's thin enough to spray. It looks pretty thin. It's moving around in that jar pretty good. And I'm going to get rid of all my little offcuts of masking tape from when I was masking this thing off. We also have the nose masked off. There's not a lot to mask off. It's just this big center section and then the nose. I'm also going to have to mask off our cockpit, otherwise, well, he's going to wind up with a bunch of paint that we don't want. So let me just get this done. I'll switch the camera, you can watch me do a little masking. Why not, right? Okay. So I'll turn this around so it's on camera. Okay. I'm going to change my glasses so I can see properly. I don't have to be super accurate with this. I just want to make sure our pilot is not going to wind up getting a bunch of paint on him that we don't want. So I'll just kind of go around the perimeter like this kind of thing. This is one going to wind up being totally different color, probably black. Most stuff in most cockpit stuff is black. After all, let's put this there. Definitely don't want blue on his helmet after going through the trouble of painting all the white on his helmet. I definitely don't want that blue. Let's fold that over. Now you might say that's good enough, but I want to make sure I got all in there, right? You might say, oh, that looks good. Yeah, no, not good enough. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to cheat. Am I cheating? No, not really. I'm not really cheating. But just kind of fold that around in there like this. Doesn't really matter how accurate or how clean this is, as long as it's all tucked up in there like that. We're going to paint the cockpit later after this is all said and done. We're just kind of making sure we're not getting any paint on the pilot. Pilot don't want to be painted. He's got enough paint on him. He's happy with the amount of paint that's on him. He told me yesterday, you know, he said, make sure when you're painting me, when you're painting the plane, I got enough paint, I don't need any more. Now this is what I meant by cheating. I'm just gonna use my fingernail to get in there, like that, and then I'm just gonna trim. Let's trim this like this, right in that groove, just like this, and then bing, and there we go. Okay, one cockpit masked. Masked, good enough. All right, there we go. So again, back over to the table where we're going to be doing this. Okay, doing this over here. Another thing I want to make sure is I just do a last second kind of scrub with the fingernail in between any cracks where you got the tape might be wanting to lift just a little bit. One last little check with that, just to make sure. I'm not going to have to worry about that on this side, but maybe down where this engine is. We don't want overspray, right? That's the last thing we do. And we don't want paint creeping in between these little crevices, because that really sucks when that happens. It makes it not look very professional, and that, you know, kind of ruins your day a little bit. Okay, I think we're good to go. Okay, so Pepsi has to be moved to a different spot. So once again, I'm going to be using my 0.5 Mr. Hobby. This is the PS266 0.5 needle. Nice big cup on it. I'm going to be using that. I'm going to get some paper towel ready. This ready. Put some paint in the cup and we'll start painting. Now, I do actually have my other camera set up today too, so you guys can watch me paint. Paint seems a little bit thick. As I just pour it out of there, it is a little bit thicker than I like. So I don't want to have issues with this, so I'm going to thin it. So pour it back in the thing. We're going to pour some Mr. Hobby, Mr. Color leveling thinner in there. And we're going to thin it out because it's a little thick. It's a little bit thick. So let's thin that sucker out. There we go. I'd say that's a good 65-35 mix. I really have no idea. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I just put it in there until I see the level rise significantly, and it flows like almost like water. And that's what I'm going for. All right. It should flow like water. Then that allows you, you might think, okay, flowing like water is maybe too thin, but not really, because that allows you to build up the thickness on it, and that's what we need. So I'm pretty much going to be painting the whole thing with this color, because later on we're going to come back with a darker blue and cover up the rest of it, and yeah, that's what we're going to do, right? So I'll switch the camera. Hopefully this works and we got a good thing going on here. We'll see, right? Sometimes this gets choppy and doesn't look very good. Looks like we've got the choppiness going on right now, but that's okay. I think the audio will be fine. Let's do a little spray here on the side. There we go. Had to get some of that thick paint through. Okay, I'm going to hold on to it from the back here first, and we're going to work our way from the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue the bottom of this, and I'll do it off camera because you don't need to see. It's just the same, it's more of this, really, it's all it is. So this is where I'm going to leave this. We're going to come back later and do part 2, doing the dark blue, okay? So we'll see you in a little bit, alright? Okay, so it's been some time anyway, and I just spent the last hour or so masking this guy off, okay? We got the blue done. I unmasked the white, and now I've masked some different spots for some different stuff and for a different color. And that color being, if you look at that picture there, we're going to do the wingtips, like these sections here and here, the tail here, little parts up in the here. Those are kind of a, I looked at the picture real close, and it's not quite gray. It's kind of a really light bluish grayish kind of color. So that's what we're going to do, but I'm going to have to mix this as a custom color. Okay, so I need one of these, and I think what I'm going to do is we're going to mix the light blue that I painted the thing with. We're going to mix this with a little bit more light gray. I think light ghost gray would be a good mix. In fact, the light ghost gray kind of looks very similar, but the light ghost gray doesn't quite have enough bluish in it. So we're going to mix these up and mix them together. Okay, I think those are good. And change the camera, you can watch me mix them up. Why not, right? Why not? Watch me mix them up. Okay, so we're going to take a little bit of this, and we're going to turn this blue into a little bit of a gray. So where's my little mixer thing? Okay, we don't need a lot, so I think that'll be good enough. Especially, think about it, I'm going to put about the same amount of gray in there. We're going to turn this gray. I'm really just going for kind of a bluish gray, but it's got to be a light color, right? It's got to be the light blue, and it's got to be the light gray. I want to try and match that color in the picture. So we want a bluish tinge, but it's got to be gray. And I think that's still a little too blue. So we're going to put a little more gray in there. This a little more gray. That's a little bit better, but I want it, if I'm looking at that color there, it's definitely a lighter color than what's on there. I mean, you compare it to that, it's definitely a lighter color, and that is kind of what I want, but I want a little more gray. If I got just a plain light gray instead of ghost gray, I want like a light gray, light gray. Like a medium gray. Let me check my wall of paints real quick here. Just let me check them here. See if I've got something that's going to put a little more gray, because this light ghost gray has a little bit of blue in it. Of course, you know what I could do? How about some Mr. Surfacer? That'll work. That'll definitely work. Mr. Surfacer gray will definitely work for tinting this a little more gray. Definitely. Let's do that. Mix that up. Oh yeah, that did the trick. That's looking gray now. Perfect. And it's thin enough I can spray that too. Alright, I think we've got the mixture we need. I think we're good to go. Pour this into the cup. I do have the other camera set up again, so hopefully it's going to work. pour this into our cup. We don't need that much. Just that's probably going to be good enough to do it all. Let me see how my camera looks if I change it up. Another thing I want to do is I'm going to paint all of our pylons, our missile pylons. They're all going to be this color too. Yeah, nice. Good job. Let's get paint all over our desk. Why not? Why not, eh? Why not? Okay, let's see how that painted camera sits and looks. Okay, not bad. Get the Pepsi out of the way. We don't want to paint our Pepsi. Bring my table over here. Get our girls out of the way. There we go. Okay. So, like I said, we're just going to do kind of the wingtips. These pieces, not this. This is, I've got these kind of pre-masked off for the darker blue. But we're going to be doing these areas here. Let me get this on camera. Let me turn the camera here. Where are we here? Let's do this. There we go. Okay, as I said, areas here, here. Not this. This is going to be dark blue. I've just kind of pre-masked it off where I can. We're doing these little tips here and here, there and here, okay? And that's what we're doing. So, let's see. Yep. Looking good. I'm going to kind of do the same treatment. I'm trying to preserve our faded, our darkened lines, but not on the edges. Let's go back to this scene. That's it. That's going to be it for this light gray slash bluish color. We're going to let this all dry now that this is all done and that coat is finished. So I got a bunch of masking tape to get rid of, and I got to reapply some in different areas so we can get onto our dark blue. So that's going to be it for this one. You might notice, you guys with a keen eye, you might have noticed there's a spot or two on the white that I missed that I didn't quite do, and I have to redo it. I'll show you here. Like this spot here, right? When it came to actually masking this off, I realized this has to come a lot further, and I didn't paint that far. So I've got to touch that up. I also got a little spot under here I need to do. There's a little schmutz I spilled. Somehow I had managed to spill something on the paint there, and I don't know what I spilled because I don't remember spilling anything, but I got to do that. I also have to redo in here, which means I got to mask off the blue and then redo that white, right? So it's a couple little spots I need to touch up like that. So I'll do that too, okay? But we're going to do that off camera. So next time you see me, I'm going to be getting ready to paint the dark blue. That's, or should I say the medium blue XF-18. That's going to be our next color. Okay, guys? So, we'll see you in a little bit, alright? We're back, and you can probably hear my air compressor running in the background, which means I'm ready to do another color. I spent a whole bunch more time doing some masking. She's all masked off. Whole bunch. Whole masked everywhere, right? So we're ready to do some more painting. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to be doing our medium blue. That's the XF-18. Okay, so let's make sure this is nicely mixed up. And I'm going to also make sure that it's nicely thinned out. Thin it out. Yeah, because there's not a lot in here right now, and it is a little thick, so we got to thin that out. And we're going to do that with some Mr. Hobby or Mr. Color leveling thinner. We're going to thin this out. They're pretty much doubling the amount that I got in there. Okay, I think that ought to do it. Alrighty. Let's do this. Give it another mix, just to be sure. I also have to keep in mind I've got to do our canopy. The canopy is going to have its surround, whatever you want to call the actual solid part that's not glass. That's got to be this color also. But I've got to go through the same steps. I got to prime it and then put the color down. Which, speaking of that kind of thing, I'm a little concerned. This big section here with the white, that might be visible through. We're going to see how well this covers, and if I can still see this definitive line between the light and the dark, then I just might wind up having to, well, you know, do it all in the primer gray, getting all one solid color, and yeah. Anyway, we will see. We will see. I want to use my bigger one. We got some pretty big areas to do, so I want to use my airbrush with the 0.5 needle. I used the other one for the touch-up, for that kind of a gray-blue color. I like taking this off. I don't know why I like doing that. I take the end off all the time. I guess because I can see the needle going in and out, and I like to watch it go in and out. That's just something I like to see. I like to see it go in and out. Okay, we got some in the cup there. I'm not sure if we'll run out halfway through or not, but we will find out. Okay, I do have the other capture. Hey, Slamodi, how's it going? Unfortunately, Slamodi, I'm going to be focusing on painting this right now, so if I miss your messages, I apologize in advance. I'm going to switch the camera here to the painting cam so we can see what's going on, so you can watch me do this. I'm going to start off with the back here, and we'll see how we do, okay? So we're going to let this dry for a minute while I clean up my airbrush. Okay, so you guys watching live, you get to watch me clean my airbrush. You guys not watching live but watching on YouTube, well, I'm going to skip ahead right about here. And as I said, you guys watching live, you get to watch me do this. Pour my remainder. I almost used it up, but not quite. Still had a little bit left, which is great because I still need a little bit to do the canopy. Don't need a lot, but I do need a little bit. And it's going to be interesting. See, I got here a few days ago, or the other day, and I noticed that there was some shiny spots on the plane, as if something had been, like, not spilt directly on it, but maybe something was spilt and a couple of little splashes got onto the plane. And it looked like it was a clear substance. I don't know what it was, but it was also kind of sticky. And so I tried to clean it off with a little bit of alcohol. Because I'm being careful with the alcohol. First I tried water, but no. So it was not coming off with water. And then of course I'm a little wary because I don't want to take the paint off, and so I tried. But I tried with a little alcohol and a Q-tip, and no, alcohol and a Q-tip didn't take it off. So then I tried some white spirits. The white spirits did, but in rubbing trying to clean it off, the white spirits took a little bit of the actual paint off. So I have to do a little bit of touch-up. But like I said, there was that clear, sticky clear, whatever it was, and it was actually showing glossy through this color, so I might wind up having to redo that little section on the front of the wing. I really don't know, but it is possible that I'm going to have to revisit this color. And I do have a couple of touch-ups to do. I got to touch up a little bit on the white and in a couple of spots anyway, so yeah, it's a little bit of touch-up that's going to need to be done. That's not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. But we're going to do the unmasking. Once my brush is clean, we'll do an unmasking, and we'll see how this goes. I like to clean the needle, and then I like to dip the needle in the lacquer thinner again and put it in backwards, just to push any paint that tried to come back into the body. It'll push it back into the cup area. Usually with this brush I don't have to worry about that, but I still like to take that precaution. And I'll take the needle and I'll push it in and out and twist it at the same time, just to run clean thinner back and forth and clean that up. And there we go. And now that's almost done. Let's clean up the cup. I like to take a Q-tip and just kind of get down in there in the hole, clean up any residual thinner there. It soaks it up. Done. Done, 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 done. Okay, and then finally, one little last wipe of the needle, and that's done. Nice and clean and finished. Okay. So with the needle clean, yeah, the needle is clean. My airbrush is cleaned out, so we're going to unmask. We're going to unmask this guy and do a little reveal, and we'll see how it all comes out. We'll see how well my masking job is, because that's always a fun surprise when you peel away the masking tape and you've got some overspray. That's, I'd say, a fun surprise. It's really not a fun surprise. It's the last thing you want, actually. It really sucks when you pull away the masking tape and discover some overspray. That is a really nasty surprise, actually. Nobody enjoys that at all. Maybe you guys would enjoy that. Some nice sadistic Twitch viewers. Some of this is going to be a little bit difficult to take off because it's like I've got masking tape stuck to masking tape. And in other places it's like it's just this. I have to peel away like that, which is of course underneath the piece. Tear that away like that. I'll take a picture of this after it's all done here. I'll take a picture so you guys can see the final result of our three colors. I'll post it up on my X channel. So you guys can see it. So you'll just have to watch for that a little bit later once I get it uploaded. And you can see, at least in a still shot, the camouflage pattern on our big bird here. I say big because it's, well, I mean the Su-57 is not a huge plane. It's definitely bigger than the F-22. I don't think it's as big as a Su-35. I think the Su-35 is a bigger plane. At least when I'm looking at my models, I've got, you know, you guys have seen, I've built the F-20 or the Su-57 before, and also the Su-35, and yeah, sitting side by each, my Su-35 is definitely bigger than the Su-57. That's a big bird. She carries lots of armaments too, lots of missiles. The Russians really, they built that bird to carry lots of stuff. We're looking pretty cool here. Okay, I got a tiny little bit of overspray right in there. I think I'm probably going to have some right in here because this tape looks like it's lifted. So I'm anticipating some overspray there. Oh, no. I don't have any overspray there. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, see, this is where I've got to touch up on the thing there. Let's see, it's a nice flight. The yellow masking tape looks almost like it's the correct color. Blue-gray underneath is better though. Thank you. Yeah, if you didn't know better, you'd think the yellow is supposed to be there, right? But it's not. Yeah, I am going to have to remask here and repaint the lighter blue. This is where I had that little schmutz. Like I said, I had something that looked like it spilt on there, but it was also on the underneath in that spot there. So I don't know what was going on. I don't remember eating anything near it in the past 2 days, so it's kind of like, how did that happen, you know? looking like we got some camo on there now. And just like on the bottom, I've got to touch up the white in the middle here. Of course, the next step is going to be painting the engines. Su-57 engines in similar fashion to the Sukhoi 35. The engines are quite colorful and definitely not boring to paint, that's for sure. In fact, they're a little bit of a challenge to paint, just like the Sukhoi, just like the Su-35. It's not a, you know, it's not just, oh, let's grab some gunmetal and call it done. No, definitely not. Definitely not. Yeah, that shiny little spot came right through. It's right through. I got a little bit of a shiny spot. It's almost like I got some gloss. Like I got a little shot of gloss right there for some reason. Yeah, woohoo. Got a little bit of touch up to do here too, and I got a little bit of gloss on my lighter blue right there. It's just, yeah, I don't know what it is. I do not know. So now I need to get my masking tape here without scratching away my color. The other thing that's kind of cool is they got the pattern that follows from the top right underneath, and it flows through. We go across here, flip, and goes across as if it's been wrapped, right? That's something that's cool that the Russians have done with this. They go across down here, and you wrap, and it continues down underneath, right? This goes and boink. That's cool. I like that about this. Okay. Nose. Reveal our nose. Because we're almost done. We're almost done, and I almost gotta go. Which will be perfect timing if I can get this done in 10 minutes. Because I gotta run. You don't need to turn on. Or as Duke's models would say, shut up, compressor. Okay. I taped up the nose really good here. So well that it's hard to see where the tape ends and where it begins. And there's multiple pieces, but we're almost done. Almost done. Get off of me. Be done faster if this tape would cooperate. Okay, nose is done. One last piece. Right there. Done. Just like that. Switch your camera, you get a little bit better look. Here you go. There is our camouflage. Don't pay any attention to that. I gotta fix that. Okay? Same with my little thing up the front here. I gotta fix that too. Okay? But there you go. And I also gotta fix this. Okay? But there you go. There's our pattern. I also gotta take regular gray and just fix up a little bit of the blue overspray in there. I gotta do that too. But this is what we're going to call done for today, guys. There's our Su-57 camouflage. She's looking cool. We'll put our little wings on here just to give you a better idea. Let's get them in the right sides. There we go. I did paint the tips white on these so that it matches, and you get that little camo pattern going there. There we go. There's our wings on. There we go. Looks pretty good, eh? I think so. So yeah, I got a little touch up there too. And if you see the little gloss patch I was talking about, it's right there. You can probably get it on the camera right there. See that? See that little gloss? It's like something underneath there that is on the paint, and I don't know what it is. It is really strange. Anyway, this is where we're going to end it, guys. We're done with this one. We're done painting our colors. Yay, yay. She looks pretty cool. I will say so myself. Yeah. So, I've got a little bit of touching up to do. I'll do that off camera, get that all taken care of, and then we'll move on to the next step, okay? I want to thank you guys for watching, and thank you for all the new subscribers. Thanks for the comments. I've been seeing lots of comments lately, and I really love that. I love the comments you guys leave me. So, oh yeah, I want to answer my question. You guys asked me why I don't use a paint booth. Aren't I worried about chemicals and stuff? Not really. I've got two fans in here. I've got a window wide open. And so when I'm spraying stuff, it's all gone out of here. I've got lots of ventilation here. I don't have to worry about all kinds of overspray and fumes in the air and stuff like that. You can't even smell it. Anyway, thanks again for watching, guys, and we'll see you all in the next one.